House Democrats have formally requested that Attorney General Bill Barr hand over Special Counsel Robert Mueller's full report to Congress by next week. No word on whether that is actually the plan, but now some Republicans are calling for the Democratic head of the House Intel Committee to resign his post.
He owes an apology to the American public, and there is no place in Adam Schiff's world or in Congress that he should be chair of the Intel Committee.
All right, joining us now is Republican Congressman Mike Turner. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Do you agree with your colleague, Kevin McCarthy, that Chairman Schiff should resign his post?
Well, I really do believe that Adam Schiff's leadership of the Intelligence Committee is compromised, and really for three reasons. One is, he wasn't being straight with the American public or with you when we would have hearings in the Intel Committee on the Trump campaign and coordination. We would hear witness after witness, as you now know, come in and say, I have no evidence of collusion. I don't know anyone else who has evidence of collusion. And he would walk out to the cameras and say, we're getting close. And then the next step, which is the second issue why I think we're concerned about his leadership, is he would then say, and the Republicans are obstructing my ability to do this, which of course the Republicans in the committee were not. So it's very divisive. He's been dishonest with the American public as to what was actually happening in the Intel Committee.
So just to be clear,
this
is helpful. So just to be clear, you actually heard him misrepresenting things that would happen behind closed doors, and then he would come out and you heard him lying about it?
Well, and so have you. I mean, you can play the tape of him saying, I have more than circumstantial evidence. And in fact, if you go to Comey's hearing before the Intelligence Committee, I tried to signal the media, it's not illegal for a member of Congress to sit in a classified briefing, come out and misrepresent what happened in that room. Yeah. It's illegal for them to come out and say what did happen. And time after time, we would leave the hearings and the Republicans would file by. Adam Schiff would run in front of the cameras and say outrageous, inflammatory things that just did not represent what happened in that room. But then the second thing is the divisiveness. He would blame the Republicans, that he was somehow being constrained in finding collusion, in which we now know from the Mueller report there is no collusion to find. The third thing is he's transformed the Intelligence Committee. His staff, you even reported, has been transformed into an investigative team instead of an intelligence team. Remember, our committee is about national security, trying to ensure that our intelligence community has the tools that they need.
But don't you do some investigating? Isn't that part of what you're tasked with?
Not the type of investigation that he has been directed toward. Remember, he had Felix Sater coming in just tomorrow to ask him more questions about collusion and collaboration with the Trump campaign, who had already been interviewed by the Mueller campaign.
Well, I mean, I think that it's because he wanted to know more about the Moscow Trump Tower, where there are still some questions about why we didn't know the right timeline of that and why Donald Trump as candidate and then president didn't own up to that business deal.
The Mueller investigation interviewed Felix Sater. There is no more work for the Intelligence Committee to do with respect to any aspect of Trump and collusion.
But hold on one second, Congressman.
Let me just collusion.
You have a duty separate and apart from the Mueller investigation. You all have oversight and investigative powers, even if Robert Mueller didn't exist.
Right, but there are other committees to pursue other issues. We're supposed to be focusing on your national security. What's China doing? What's Russia doing? What's Iran? What's North Korea doing? What are our intelligence community doing? What resources do they need? Yeah. What information are we having that needs to be processed? Are there silos in between the intelligence community that we can help them in legislation and regulation?
So you need to ask questions and interview people.
This is a personal vendetta from Adam Schiff at this point, and it's, he will continue to come on your show and say there's collusion, even though we all know there's no collusion as long as you let him.
So I mean, back to my question, are you calling for him to step down?
I do believe he needs to step aside. I think that his leadership is compromised, and it's compromised, as I was saying, for three reasons. One, he has stood in front of the American people and say things that were not true. Two, he's attacked his fellow Republicans on the committee and been divisive and saying things about the Republicans on the committee that aren't true. And the third thing is he's transformed the committee from its focus, which is protecting our national security and the intelligence community, to being a vendetta against the Trump
so who should be the chair?
Family and even the Trump campaign.
Who would you like to see be the chair?
Oh, that's not my decision to make. I mean, obviously, that's Nancy Pelosi's decision to make. But I think when she makes that decision, she needs to say what would be best for our national security, not what would be best for appearances on CNN by Adam Schiff.
Congressman, just help me understand this. none of us have seen the Mueller report, of course. So we've just seen the 4-page summary. We've not seen
the summary, though, does include direct quotes. I mean, that's the aspect that I think that's made the most news is that we have exact quotes.
Sure, but for my taste, I guess I'll just say that's not enough after 2 years.
I agree.
Sure
and
like to see the full
I have
Mueller
supported
report.
this whole report needs to be made public. But with respect to collusion, I mean, there are direct quotes in here that there's no tacit or express. There's absolute
It said it could not establish,
statements.
did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated. Yeah, it didn't rise to a level that Robert Mueller felt that they could establish. I agree with
Which
we're
is different, by the way, than what Swalwell has said on your show. Swalwell has come on CNN and said, well, it didn't rise to the level of criminal conspiracy or collaboration or cooperation.
Yeah.
That's not what Mueller said. He said there was none. And so
this is
you're
the part
going to continue to have these people say that there's evidence of things that there is not evidence of.
This is the part that's confusing. Until we see the Mueller report. Why then all the lying and subterfuge?
With what?
From the Trump orbit. Why did so many people, if there was no conspiracy, and that's what Robert Mueller, I agree with you, concluded, why all the lying? Why did they not admit? Why was the Air Force One statement misleading and false that they crafted? Why did so many people lie that they're now going to prison about it? Why all the subterfuge? I mean, I think that's the lingering question.
Right, which I get to answer now, which is, you'll have to ask them that. But the one thing that's important about your question is no one was lying about collusion. I mean, the people who are going to jail are lying about financial transactions they were doing, business practices
that they had with Russians.
No one is going to jail because they lied about collusion or cooperation before Congress or in any aspect of this investigation. So that is a misrepresentation of what's happened. That's why Mueller was able to say there's no evidence of it, and no one was prosecuted for it.
Well, they lied to investigators.
And they've recommended no indictments with respect to it.
They lied to investigators, and that's not allowed.
I don't know who you're talking about when you say they.
Michael Flynn lied to investigators. There were also
but not about collusion,
about
cooperation, because he's actually said he had no evidence with respect to collusion or collaboration or cooperation. It's not about Trump-Russia, which is what Adam Schiff in your question was about, which is Trump-Russia. All of these other aspects that came out in the Mueller campaign, no American has been charged with respect to collusion, collaboration, or cooperation with Russia and the Trump campaign. The Mueller investigation has put to bed the issues of the campaign.
I understood that that's the top line. I hear you that that's the headline. But I guess
that's the actual quotes that are in the Barr memo from the Mueller report.
I understood. But my question is, there was a lot of lying to investigators. That's why Paul Manafort, George Papadopoulos, all of these people got in trouble because they lied. As you know, there was the misleading statement on Air Force One. Why?
I think you have to ask them. Obviously, I'm not going to defend a statement that someone else has made. I can tell you this, though, that when you look at the statements that were made by members of the Intelligence Committee, including Adam Schiff, when they would come out of hearings and testimony that we received, it did not bear resemblance to what was happening in the back room. And quite frankly, Allison, you have to know this yourself. I mean, if CNN looks not just the statements that were made on CNN, but you had to have, off-the-record conversations, background discussions, phone calls with these individuals, and you now know, having had the Mueller report, that they bear no resemblance to what you were being told. Because I'm assuming that CNN was being guided and told that, it's breaking, we have this information, this is going to happen, and in fact, it wasn't ever.
We don't have the Mueller report. I mean, we don't have the Mueller report. We look forward to having the Mueller report. You have the direct quotes in the Barr letter that state the conclusions, and I look forward to the Mueller report. I'm for the whole thing being open. In fact, I voted for everything in the Intelligence Committee to be open with respect to this investigation. I think the American public and you need to read all of this. And you ought to take a look at what happened in hearings and then what your press conferences were right after those hearings. And see what those statements are that were not in contrast. We'd love to, Congressman. I mean, if we can get access to closed-door meetings, we'd love to know that. But we certainly
they're coming out. We already voted. On the Intelligence Committee, we voted. They're in their process. They're coming out. You will get an opportunity to see Adam Schiff ask questions, and you will get an opportunity to hear witness after witness say, I have no evidence of coordination or collaboration. I have no evidence of anyone else who has that evidence.
Okay.
And then you can match them up yourself to the members on Adam Schiff's team and Adam Schiff running in front of the cameras and saying, we're close. We have more than circumstantial evidence of collusion when, in fact, there was none. We look forward to being able to connect all those dots and to having you back to I hope you hold them accountable. Have more questions. Thank you very much, Congressman Turner. Thank you.